Sup everyone, in my last video I spoke about extreme impatience, restlessness and edginess in people with ADHD. And I said in this one I'd be talking about taking risks. Now what I mean by that is people with ADHD have a tendency to basically weigh the benefits of risky activities so highly that then their brain or the functions of their brain fail to then also appropriately assess the level of actual risk, as in dangerous risk. Now I'll get into that properly in a second, but first, as usual, make a comment down if you like the content and you want to see more. Follow me, subscribe, leave a like, a comment, questions in the comment. And by the way, I don't think I've ever said before, but when I said questions, I mean obviously about ADHD and autism and so on and so forth, but also like straight up questions if you fancy it, like what's your favorite color? What's your favorite anime? Because I want to make videos like that, and well, my reason isn't that profound actually. My reason is just because I like it. Anyway, so let's get into it. So, as I just said, people with ADHD, especially adults, tend to be quite risky in the activities they undertake. And by that I mean it can be things like essentially their brain just doesn't have a great risk aversion factor, you might say. And the reason for that is because ADHD affects the parts of a person's brain that usually would have like impulse control. So, and as we know, ADHD, a big part of that is hyperactivity, which is of course also impulsiveness. Now that's not to say that everyone with ADHD or adults with ADHD are so risky that they go out every day and it's like, I don't know, trying to save a lemming from jumping off a cliff. Not like that, okay? Because there is also the factor of common sense, which, although it may be common for most people with ADHD, that common sense is a bit of a delayed, is a bit delayed coming to the forefront of the brain. That isn't to say that it doesn't happen, obviously. And again, it comes down to things like how you grow up, you know, the methods and strategies that you develop over time and your responsibilities and how you kind of organize your own brain. So in my case, because I'm an older sister, my whole life, or most of my life anyway, I've had this idea of responsibility. I gotta be a good role model, I gotta look out for them, and that's not like a pressure anyone's put on me. That's a pressure I put on myself, you know, because because again, I've said people with ADHD feel very sensitive about the emotions of others, and as an older sister, that was always true with my brothers, still is. So I would always be very hyper aware of if they were in pain, if they were hurt, if they were at risk, and because of that, I would often lessen the risk around them as much as I could to keep them safe, being a bit overprotective at times, if I'm honest. Which is probably a good idea actually, because all of them ended up having ADHD and autism as well. So, but because of that, I ended up developing sort of subconsciously sort of strategies and methods and habits that allow me to think first before I act. It doesn't happen all the time. Sometimes, obviously, your impulsivity is going to take hold and it's just going to like go, ooh, I wonder what happens if I jump off this. I'm going to give it a go. And I use that reference because when I was younger, I did that quite often. And I'm lucky it didn't end up too badly. And by which I mean like jump off the bed, jump off the sofa, jump off the trampoline, which is worse because you're actually jumping. So, now, with taking risks, it can involve things like when you're an adult with like driving dangerously is a good example, you know, because on the roads there's the speed limits and it can feel frustrating, say if you're going a slower speed but you're in a bit of a rush to get somewhere. Now that's probably a very common thing lots of people can relate to, but if you're someone with ADHD, part of the impulsive part of your brain is probably thinking, oh come on, a little faster won't hurt, a little faster won't hurt, and that isn't good, yeah, on a road. That's highly dangerous, not just to yourself but to others, and that risk assessment, you know, for the safety of others as well as yourself, doesn't come into play when it should. It takes time. So now again, I drive, yeah, but I often feel like at the wheel I have a tendency to become hyper focused, hyper attentive, because I'm aware of the danger, and I'm aware of the danger because, you know, I have parents and grandparents who all through my life would tell me about dangers, tell me to be careful, and one, looking out for me, two, knowing that with my ADHD I might be too impulsive, and I would pass that on to my brothers. So like I said, you know, it's not, these are examples of things. It's not, the taking risks thing sometimes can be a positive thing, you know, because I think too often people tend to hesitate when they have a big opportunity ahead of them because they weigh the risks, the pros, the cons, and they go, I don't know, the risk is too high, I won't do it. And then on the chance that they actually hit on a pro, not a con, they've missed out on a big opportunity for themselves or for other people. If you're someone with ADHD, you're more likely to take that risk. So see, there is a positive side as well. So none of these behaviours that I'm talking about in adults with ADHD are necessarily one or the other, you know, advantages or disadvantages, a pro or a con. There are two sides to all of them, you know, depending on where they're applied, what situation you're in, your circumstances, and so on and so forth. So, yeah, but like I said, if you're someone who takes risks, and you know you do, I'm a bit of an adrenaline junkie, you know, danger to me doesn't, I don't weigh it up as heavily as I should sometimes. But I'm careful to try and only apply that to things that involve myself, not other people, and, you know, just for thrill-seeking reasons, you know, in a theme park, well, I want to go, like, parachuting one day, that kind of thing. But you just got to be careful, yeah, and you just got to try and be as aware as you can be that these risks still exist. Regardless of how high you measure the benefits, the risk is always there, okay? And when you've really got that at the forefront of your mind, controlling your impulsivity when it comes to particularly dangerous situations or risks where perhaps it is too high to even consider the benefits, then you're golden, okay? Because then at least you've got that part of yourself that's going, hang on, no, wait, stop, think, then act. Because that's the kind of sequence you want things to go in. Stop, think, act. Not act, regret, okay? Don't want to go down that one. So, yeah, so that is taking risks and people with ADHD. There's lots more to do with the brain. If you're interested now, I'll do another video about specifically how it affects the brain and what parts. So put that in the comments if you do want to see that. But otherwise, I think that's all I have to say. Now, the next video I'm going to do, I'm not going to be talking about a particular behaviour. I do want to, and I will after that. But I'm actually going to be showing you a practical, like, visual of how autistic or ADHD brain works that I actually got from another video that I've seen a couple weeks ago, and I can't remember it perfectly, but hopefully I'll do it just because I think it's a really good example and I want to share it with you guys. So if you're interested in that, then like I said earlier, follow, like, leave a comment, questions in the comments, subscribe, and I'll see you soon. Bye!